households to end 43-day shutdown, and it's only cost us sanity savings and a slice of the American dream.
Trump reportedly knew about the girls, yet Epstein files remain sealed tighter than a billionaire's tax returns. It's a classic case of hide and seek, except the stakes are human lives and the seekers are armed with subpoenas instead of flashlights.
Hilaria Baldwin boasts a 26-year age gap with Alec, claiming it's a flex, but admits they sometimes need a little therapy.
Bill X sold a guitar for a profit, then immediately regretted it, despite Eddie Van Halen's advice to enjoy and ruin instruments. Because sometimes the real rock and roll tragedy isn't smashing the guitar, it's selling it to the highest bidder.
Labour MP's eye regime change as Keir Starmer avoids press conferences for over a month, despite thin majorities and chaotic strategy. When your strategy is as clear as a mud puddle, even your own party starts shopping for new leadership like it's a clearance sale.
Senator Fetterman hospitalized after fall, while Oklahoma governor halts execution of 2002 killer. Apparently, justice is as wobbly as a senator on a bad day. When pigs run wild in New Mexico, who needs a court date, right?
Rise of the North Star released new album Chapter 04, claiming it shatters boundaries. But let's face it, when every band's new chapter sounds like a remix of their last, maybe the boundaries are more like suggestions. Rock on, but try harder.
When billionaires throw tantrums,
Ukraine Anti-Corruption Bureau uncovers $1.2 million transfer, implicates unnamed ex-deputy prime minister. When corruption gets a makeover, it's called diplomacy. But laundering money through invisible hands just leaves fingerprints on the soul of a nation.
Democrats release Epstein emails referencing Trump, and the spin cycle begins anew. When secrets spill like cheap wine, the real mystery is which vintage of scandal pairs best with power's selective memory.
only 12% of metalheads embrace cliches, yet bands still churn out edgy titles like Bath in the Blood of My Enemies. The song might sound hardcore, but let's be real. If you're not wielding a chainsaw, you're just playing dress up in Grandpa's attic.
European court rules Poland violated rights, then Poland claims it's defending morality by policing women's bodies. In a world where travel bans become morality plays, Poland's gone full Orwell, controlling women's choices, one border crossing at a time.
Fannie Mae ethics team gutted during investigation, then FRCFA head Polte claims commitment to transparency. When the watchdogs are declawed, the foxes run the henhouse. Polte's transparency looks about as clear as a mudslide in a blackout.
GM demands suppliers cut China ties, then claims it's about resilience. When a corporate giant tells you to play musical chairs with global supply chains, you know it's less about patriotism and more about positioning for the next trade war.
Russia enlists North Korean troops for demining, calls it strategic diplomacy. When your allies are so scarce that you have to rely on North Korea to clean up your old messes, it's less about friendship and more about desperation, dressed as diplomacy.
When your authority is so thin it's practically see-through, you can't be surprised when your troops turn justice into a DIY project. It's like trying to stop a wildfire with a spray bottle.
When Alexander Pushkin's poetry meets a wailing guitar solo, it's like inviting a ghost to a mosh pit. The past never knew it could rock this hard.
Treasury official rejects 50-year mortgage proposal, calls it a pipe dream for the financially immortal. Apparently, living to pay off a mortgage wasn't ambitious enough. Now they want you to haunt your house with debt for half a century.
When the allure of
Eubank Jr. and Ben rematch, scheduled for 9 p.m., promising more punches and less resolution than a political debate. When sportsmanship is just a formality and grudges outlive boxing gloves, expect fists to fly faster than the truth in a campaign speech.
Republican lawmakers wield rare deterrent cases like a sledgehammer, ignoring the 98% of trans folks who don't look back. When a fraction of a minority becomes the poster child for oppression, it's like using a single raindrop to justify a drought.
US sanctions squeeze Lukoil, forcing Bulgaria and Romania to scramble for buyers as energy giants play musical chairs with oil rigs. Watching countries tiptoe around sanctions is like watching a cat dance on a hot tin roof, except the roof is made of slippery oil profits.
Layoffs are the corporate version of a magic trick. They make people disappear, but the CEO's bonus only seems to grow.
Donald Trump vows to sue BBC over speech edit, calling it an obligation. If only he felt the same obligation for truth, justice, or, actually doing his job. But hey, priorities, right?
Australian Liberals ditch net zero, heading for electoral oblivion while climate change parties on like it's 1999. Ignoring climate change is like refusing sunscreen at the beach. It's all sunburn now, and skin cancer later.
Trump proposes portable mortgage plan, promises financial flexibility. Because nothing says stability like a mortgage you can pack up like a tent. Next up, the foldable White House.
It's like watching toddlers argue over who gets the last cookie while the kitchen burns down.
Arizona's Adelita Grijalva finally sworn in after 7 weeks delay, just in time to be drowned in the political swamp. Like waiting for a bus that's late because it's stuck in traffic caused by another late bus.
White House blames Democrats for missing jobs report, then declares it likely never coming out. When the truth is inconvenient, just point fingers and hope nobody notices the empty folder where the data should be.
Tech CEOs predict AI bubble burst, deny existence of dark GPUs, while profits keep inflating like a hot air balloon at a pin convention. If AI is a bubble, then tech execs
are the ones selling the helium, and we're just here for the inevitable pop.
Only 46 years since Death or Glory debuted, and politicians still pick the latter over substance. The Clash gave us a soundtrack for rebellion, but it seems the only ones listening are the folks in leather jackets, not leather chairs.
Metafun's AI-powered flying bomb claims it will counter Russia's drone swarms but fails to mention the defense budget black hole. When your solution to drones is AI bombs, it's like using a flamethrower to light a cigarette, spectacularly overkill and equally reckless.
Allegation: wealthy foreigners paid £80,000 for weekend safaris to kill civilians in Sarajevo, but justice remains elusive. When the rich turn war into sport, it's a dystopian theme park where human life is the cheapest thrill ride.
Anthropic asks Claude to program a robot dog, calling it innovation while real dogs continue being better friends. In a world where AI models take on the physical, we might soon find ourselves fetching sticks for our robotic overlords.
Jeffrey Epstein claimed Trump knew about the girls in emails, but the Mar-a-Lago connection remains as murky as a swamp. When the skeletons in your closet start emailing each other, it's time to question if the House of Cards was ever a real house.
Hanson Young labels liberals nutters after net zero decision, claiming they aim to drive the economy off a cliff. When the climate crisis needs a fire extinguisher, the liberals show up with a can of gasoline and a grin.
Only 12% of blues fans embrace new blends, and Blue Moon, Marquee, and Northern Cree call it a cultural revolution. When tradition meets innovation, it's like trying to dance the tango in cowboy boots. Awkward at first, but boy, does it make a statement.
US labels 4 European groups as terrorists, calls them violent Antifa. Because nothing says freedom like branding anyone who disagrees with you as a terrorist. Next up, declaring your neighbor's barking dog an insurgent.
Posthumous sperm retrieval demand skyrockets, creating life and ethical dilemmas. In a world where love transcends the grave, the real question is, are we making babies or ghost stories?
Scientists claim bumblebees understand time, but still can't explain why your phone battery dies at 2%. While bees may master temporal puzzles, humanity remains stuck, solving the enigma of missing socks and phantom phone chargers. Priorities people.
Only 0% of music fans remember November 15th album drops, and Spotify calls it nostalgia. While we pretend to care about forgotten release dates, the real challenge remains finding your favorite song in a playlist longer than a CVS receipt.
Tesla finally adds Apple CarPlay to vehicles after years of tech snobbery. Looks like even Elon couldn't resist the siren call of iPhone integration. Guess he's finally learned that being exclusive isn't always electrifying.
Only 5% of spinal cord injury patients see improved motor function with exoskeletons, and the study calls it groundbreaking. When robots can barely lift our spirits, let alone our limbs, you start to wonder if the real breakthrough is in the marketing department's imagination.
Catholic bishops condemn U.S. immigration tactics, defying their usual political quietude. When the bishops break their vow of silence, you know it's serious. Apparently, even divine patience has a limit when it comes to human cruelty.
Nomad coupons offer 80% off luxury accessories. Looks like you get a discount on the price tag, but the real cost is pretending you ever needed a luxury phone case to begin with.
DNA test kits sell for $99, promise ancestral enlightenment, but mostly confirm you're human. It's a $100 reminder that you are, indeed, a carbon-based life form with a penchant for spending money on existential validation.
Patti Smith redefines punk with Gloria, proving art can be as raw as a scraped knee. Smith doesn't just sing, she conjures a rebellion in 3 chords, reminding us that true art punk is a revolution in every riff.
Limp Bizkit cancels Estonia concert. Fred Durst's past pro-Russian comments hit a sour note. When your frontman's diplomacy is as subtle as a wrecking ball, expect the tour to take a detour. Maybe they can play a gig in Siberia.
You investigate Google for demoting content, but Google's algorithm claims it's just misunderstood. Apparently, Google's AI has a penchant for downplaying anything that doesn't start with how to buy or best deals on.
Montreal City Council candidate claims bike lanes boost economy, neglects to mention the potholes swallowing cyclists whole. Sure, bike lanes might bring in the bucks, but when your road feels like a lunar surface, it's hard to enjoy the ride. Maybe invest in some asphalt, Leslie?
It's a watershed moment. If by watershed you mean they'll occasionally text each other about submarines and peacekeeping.
Trump demands Justice Department investigate Epstein's links to Clinton and Democrats and somehow forgets his own calendar. Selective memory is the new executive privilege. It's like pointing fingers while conveniently hiding your own hand.
YouTube users upvote Shriekback's Clear Trails video but forget to check if they still have black eyeliner in stock. The post-punk revival continues as we reclaim the 80s one moody synth track at a time. Grab your trench coats and existential dread.
Only 20% of home buyers could afford a 50-year mortgage, and lenders call it progress. Stretching debt across half a century is like claiming a marathon as just a longer sprint. It's still a long way to run with no finish line in sight.
After promising restful nights, mattress companies sell sleep trackers, then blame your injury on your lack of sleep. It's as if the pillow industry whispered sweet nothings and then sold you an alarm clock that screams, "It's your fault, you're exhausted."
Sydney Sweeney and American Eagle launch jeans ad, then claim backlash is just a new fashion trend. Nothing says we hear you like denim designed to distract from the noise of public opinion. Next up, jeans that can actually withstand the weight of corporate apologies.
EU leaders once championed climate action, now they cozy up to fossil fuels, calling it pragmatic. Like a reformed smoker lighting up for old time's sake, the EU's climate stance is now just a puff of hot air.
The Kremlin turns video games into propaganda tools, claiming it's just fun and games. Who knew virtual battle royales could double as boot camps for tomorrow's soldiers? The Kremlin's joystick is now a weapon of mass distraction.
US announces Southern Spear mission, then claims it's a peacekeeping picnic.
John Cleese cancels Israeli shows, denies bias, but social media erupts. Apparently, the Ministry of Silly Walks can't handle the internet's sprint to outrage. Cleese's comedic timing meets Twitter's cancel culture in an epic showdown.
Norwegian campaign reaches out to pedophiles, claims prevention is the cure. While most countries sweep it under the rug, Norway offers therapy instead of tortures. Maybe empathy beats pitchforks in the long run.
Pakistan court bombing kills 12, India rejects responsibility, and chaos reigns. In a world where explosions speak louder than diplomacy, the blame game is a deadly art form. Everyone's pointing fingers, but no one's cleaning the debris.
Google relaunches Cameo for Chrome OS, promises seamless Windows migration, but who really wants a browser for a desktop? In the eternal war between tech giants, Google's latest move is like inviting you to trade your sports car for a skateboard. Sure, it's eco-friendly, but good luck on the highway.
As Russia plays battleship with drones, the West fumbles for the instruction manual, hoping to find how to counter a drone swarm before checkmate.
In the mosh pit of life, metalcore fans know that sometimes the real impossible end is getting through a set without needing a chiropractor. Rock on, but stretch first.
Because nothing says rehabilitation like throwing a kid behind bars for life, maybe next they'll propose adult-sized shackles for maximum irony.
Epstein dangled bikini photos of Trump, New York Times emails reveal. In a sordid tale of power, privilege, and pool parties, Epstein tried to bait headlines with snapshots of scandal, proving once again that sleaze is the currency of the corrupt.
Streaming giants hike subscription costs again, yet subscribers keep forking over cash like it's a gym membership they never use.
80-year-old smashes Ironman record, defying age and expectations.
Trump demands Netanyahu pardon in letter, proving once again that his pen is mightier than any legal process he doesn't like. The art of the deal, or just another episode of presidential pen pals trying to rewrite the rulebook. Either way, justice isn't the one getting a pardon here.
$25 billion Bitcoin bet unravels as big buyers face doubt and digital delusion. In the high-stakes world of crypto, it seems the only thing inflating faster than Bitcoin's bubble is the egos of those betting on it, leaving them with more virtual monopoly money than actual gains.
Michigan lawmakers approve bill to hide their addresses and employment because transparency is so last century. Nothing says trust your elected officials like a game of political hide and seek. Maybe next they'll pass a bill to govern from undisclosed locations with secret identities.
Ethiopian government introduced non-native tree, now threatens livelihoods and ecosystems, defying its original purpose.
Hungarian average wages hit 18,500, proving that being a European Union member doesn't guarantee a European paycheck.
Trump demolishes White House East Wing for ballroom, redefining home improvements as a political statement, not a necessity. Because nothing says presidential legacy like a dance floor where diplomacy used to be, maybe it's time to waltz away from reality.
Only 0% of Epstein's warnings about Trump were heeded, and now we are all staring in a reality TV dystopia. When even the disgraced canary in the coal mine sounds the alarm, you'd think someone would have listened before the mine collapsed. But no, here we are, sifting through the rubble of willful ignorance.
Insurance companies hike premiums for bereaved partners. Proving grief isn't the only thing that's costly after losing a loved one. Because nothing says we care quite like kicking you when you're down, courtesy of an algorithm with the empathy of a rock.
Record number of young women want to flee America, but airports are still charging for emotional baggage. When the land of the free feels like a cage, you can bet the flight attendants are prepping for takeoff. Meanwhile, those left behind are stuck with the in-flight movie, Escape from Patriarchy Island.
Germany's ruling parties agree on military service changes. Because nothing says freedom like a government telling you when to suit up as long as your calendar's clear.
Death Valley plant thrives in 20-degree heat, making climate change look like a growth strategy. While humans sweat and politicians debate, this tenacious sprout laughs in the face of rising temperatures. Maybe it's time we take some lessons in resilience from our chlorophyll comrades.
Because nothing screams progress like swapping old wings for shiny new ones.
Trump bans book from Yosemite, claiming nature needs less freedom of speech. Apparently, trees and waterfalls might start questioning authority if they read too much. Next, they'll be censoring squirrels for chattering about climate change.
FC Heidenheim defeats Bayer Leverkusen 2-1, calls it a giant slaying. When underdogs bite, the mighty taste defeat, and the minnows get a taste of glory. David's slingshot still packs a punch.
When your national defense strategy is as penetrable as a wet paper bag, Maybe it's time to rethink who holds the scissors.
House schedules Epstein files vote next week, promising transparency but delivering deja vu. When the House promises to open the Epstein files, it feels like they're handing us a flashlight with dead batteries.
Michelle Pfeiffer claims she's still lucky in love after 32 years of marriage, defying Hollywood's divorce statistics. In a town where relationships expire faster than milk, Pfeiffer's marriage is practically an ancient artifact. Maybe true love is the real special effect.
Iranian forces seized tanker, claiming it drifted into their waters by accident. It's like someone accidentally picking up your wallet and heading home with it, calling it a navigational misunderstanding.
Nomura strategists predicted market sell-off, then stocks plummeted anyway. Wall Street's crystal ball, always right after the fact, if only those predictions came with a rewind button for your portfolio.
US and Germany top investing economies, while average citizens can't afford rent. It's like being told you're the wealthiest kid in school, but your lunch money's always short.
Epstein's brother emails Trump blowing someone named Bubba. Internet speculates Bill Clinton. Ah, the tangled web of political intrigue, when your drama makes a soap opera look like a documentary.
Supreme Court discusses SNAP benefits amid shutdown, then hunger remains unsolved. Once again, the court's deliberations are a feast of legalese, while families get a steady diet of empty plates and empty promises.
Researchers unveil micro-robot for drug delivery, promising precision but not a cure for the healthcare system's chronic ailments. When tiny bots do the heavy lifting, maybe we can finally stop blaming nurses for everything.
U.S. government reopens, but delayed data leaves Wall Street stumbling like a drunk without a GPS. When bureaucracy takes a nap, even the stock market wakes up with a hangover.
Trump pressures MAGA rebels to derail Epstein vote, then transparency remains buried. In the theater of power, it's curtains for truth, while the puppeteer keeps the spotlight on chaos and conspiracy.
BlackRock to form €2 billion data center venture, because storing all that money requires a lot of server space. When your wallet's too fat for your pocket, you build a data center with a Spanish twist.
Mexico's pension giants seek private equity, call it diversification. With public funds playing Wall Street roulette, retirees might get a front row seat to the high-stakes game of financial Russian roulette.
SEC to examine proxy advisory process. Promises transparency while winking at Wall Street. When referees start checking their own rule book, you know the game's been rigged from the start.
Director Gore Verbinski's new film trailer teases AI apocalypse because humans weren't already sweating enough. In a world where robots outsmart us, we still need a plot twist. The real horror is our popcorn-powered denial.
Georgia prosecutor replaces Fani Willis in Trump election case promises justice. Swapping prosecutors like trading cards, but the game remains rigged for the one who shuffles the deck, not the one who plays by the rules.
Goldman strategists predict U.S. stocks will lag all peers for 10 years. Call it a vision for the future. When the people who profit from chaos start forecasting doom, maybe it's time to invest in canned beans and a good hammock.
Wall Street analysts promise an early Santa Claus rally, but stocks remain as stagnant as last year's fruitcake. Turns out the only thing coming early this year are the emails from analysts trying to sell you the idea that optimism can be scheduled.
Only 12% of new rock tracks hit mainstream charts, and Steelverse calls it a breakthrough. In a world where algorithms decide our playlists, bands like Steelverse are the real rebels, fighting fires with guitar riffs and raw, unfiltered passion.
Chancellor Reeves scraps tax rise plans, yet the UK's fiscal forecast still predicts austerity in a designer suit. It's like being told a storm won't flood your basement, but you should still keep that bucket handy, just in case.
As beats get colder and more synthetic, YCA 80 Bands serves up a sonic heat wave, reminding us that sometimes you just need to chill out and feel the rhythm.
AfD leader claims Putin poses no threat, warns Germany about Poland's intentions instead. It's like telling a wolf isn't dangerous while eyeing the bunny with suspicion. Just another day in the upside-down world of far-right logic.
Because nothing says future success like a marathon of stress and sleep deprivation.
As the political circus rolls on, Trump's confetti cannon fires over the ashes of a government shutdown, proving once again that dysfunction is his favorite dance partner.
World leaders discuss climate change consequences, then fly home in private jets. Irony hits like a heat wave, solving global warming one carbon footprint at a time, because nothing spells urgency like a luxury recline at 40,000 feet.
Chinese automakers sell used new EVs, calling it innovation. Who knew progress meant selling unsold cars as used? It's like calling your ex a current partner just because they still exist in your contacts.
EU spends 3 years on AI Act, ends with pricey suggestion box. In the grand tradition of bureaucratic brilliance, the EU's AI Act has become the world's most expensive piece of recycled paper, perfect for doodling while Rome burns.
Democrats bet on Epstein case for leverage, hoping for political gain, trying to ride Epstein's ghost like a political surfboard, because nothing says trust us like banking on scandal roulette.
Hollywood anoints Leah Sava Jeffries as next great heroine, then demands she fit into a size 0 narrative. As Tinseltown rolls out the red carpet, it's a shame it's only wide enough for those who squeeze into its narrow, outdated expectations.
Geologists claim rock strength boosts soil production, but only if you're patient enough to wait centuries. Turns out, rocks are the slowest chefs in the kitchen of Earth, taking their sweet time to whip up a fresh batch of soil while we all stand around tapping our feet.
Boron arsenide overtakes diamond in heat conduction, proving even rocks can have a midlife crisis. Who knew that diamonds, the eternal status symbol of luxury, could be outshone by a humble compound? Looks like even the hardest materials can't escape being dethroned in the game of thermal thrones.
UK investigation uncovers abuse of thousands at County Durham detention centre, then authorities shrug. In a land where justice is blind, it seems it's also deaf, dumb, and utterly indifferent to the cries of the young and vulnerable.
Big Tech halts protests, complies with Australia's teen ban, proving silence can be bought. Once the kings of the digital playground, now they're the hall monitors, enforcing curfews like parents who finally read the PTA newsletter. Who knew compliance could be such a sellout move?
Congress plans to introduce bill to freeze immigration entirely, then wonders why the Statue of Liberty looks miffed. When the land of the free locks the gates, it might as well hang a closed for humanity sign on the door.
China launches aircraft supercarrier, tests US Pacific supremacy, because who needs peaceful waters when you can have a naval arms race? It's like a giant game of Battleship, except the stakes are real and the board just got a whole lot more crowded. Time to see who sinks whom first.
Louis Sibelius gets egged at book launch, proving that the joke's on him in more ways than one. When your own uncle turns into an omelet assassin, it's safe to say your public image is more scrambled than sunny side up.
Baudelain's party exits centrist coalition over green rules, far-right claps like seals at feeding time. When environmental progress becomes a political pawn, the planet's just a game board where nobody wins.
Universities ban naked locker rooms, then wonder why people are body shy and awkward. In a world where the human body is more censored than a presidential scandal, it's no surprise that changing clothes becomes a covert operation worthy of a spy thriller.
Oil prices drop further as global market surplus emerges, and somewhere a billionaire sheds a single crocodile tear. When oil cries poor, remember, it's just a rich kid used to getting everything without lifting a finger.
When life hands you lemons, make a dance track. Anna's groove proves that survival means never having to stick to the same old tune.
The New Yorker proposes animated covers to enhance storytelling, then claims it's cutting edge. Because who needs a simple magazine cover when you can have a tiny TV show? It's like Broadway for your coffee table.
Only 30% of gospel listeners stream J Moss, while the rest are busy praising their Spotify algorithm for finally getting it right. In the church of the digital age, the true miracle is finding a playlist that doesn't sneak in a country ballad.
Trump administration tightens student loan relief measures while tuition costs soar. Because hey, who needs an education when you can have a lifetime of debt instead? It's the American dream, now with more interest.
Apple plans Tim Cook's departure next year, while iPhone prices continue to inflate. Looks like Cook might finally take a bite out of the apple pie, leaving customers to foot the bill for that last overpriced slice.
Starbucks workers strike. Zohran Mamdani urges boycott.
but lattes remain at premium prices. While frappuccinos froth with corporate greed, Mamdani's call might just be the shot of espresso your conscience needed.
Only 9% of presidential candidates release ballots, and Gary Barv is serenading his way into political oblivion with an Ed Sheeran cover. In a world where policy is playlist and charisma is key change, Barv's campaign hits a flat note in the cacophony of political theater.
G7 preps to grill Rubio on U.S. Caribbean strike. But who needs legality when you've got bravado? In the land of the free and the home of the bold, legality's just an inconvenient footnote to conquest.
In the twisted ballet of geopolitics, nothing says peaceful intentions like a billion-dollar arms deal wrapped in diplomatic doublespeak and delivered with a smile.
In Trump's America, climate change is like a bad ex. Deny its existence and hope it goes away while the world sweats bullets.
In the land of wishful thinking, optimism is the new diplomacy. Just close your eyes and believe hard enough and any problem disappears.
Spotify adds another track to its infinite playlist, claims it's revolutionizing music while artists ask if exposure pays the rent. In the gig economy symphony, creators are the soloists playing for applause while the platform conducts a concerto of profit margins.
Only 5% of voters mobilize against NYPD, and Mamdani's challenge goes unnoticed. The left's power-building strategy needs more than wishful thinking and echo chambers. It needs a megaphone and a marching band.
Governor Newsom trolls Vance and MAGA for their silence on Epstein files, while they pretend the sound of crickets is a new anthem.
Disney ends feud with YouTube TV, reinstating ESPN for subscribers without a price cut. The Mouse House and the streaming giant play nice for now, but viewers might want to keep their wallets on speed dial.
Zurich Insurance channels $170 million into Australian private debt, while kangaroos remain unimpressed. The insurance giant bets on Aussie assets, hoping Down Under debt delivers more than just sunburn and koalas.
Ukraine's anti-corruption prosecutors allege mafia-linked mayor's illegal land grab cost $16.5 million, but his martial arts moves can't dodge accountability. When your political career is a real-life crime thriller, it's hard to tell if the next plot twist is jail or just another Tuesday.
Dow climbs and S&P edges up while Nasdaq stumbles, all because Nvidia took a nosedive. Wall Street's roller coaster ride continues, and somewhere, a stock analyst is questioning their life choices over a cocktail.
China dominates global EV sales with over 1 million units in the first half of 2025, leaving the US green with envy. While the US plays catch-up with mixed emissions, China's already planning the after-party on Mars.
Robin releases dopamine music video, promises an auditory rainbow ride. Pop's Electric Fairy returns to sprinkle serotonin confetti, leaving fans high on vibes and questioning if they've ever truly danced before.
Leave It Spin could make a top tumbler, but no amount of twirling will erase those digital footprints.
Palestinian Authority warns of displacement agents as South Africa offers support. In a plot twist worthy of a geopolitical soap opera, the PA sounds the alarm on shadowy relocation schemes while South Africa plays the unexpected ally.
Meta stock dogged best idea by analyst despite 20% drop since last month. Apparently, AI spending is the new religion. Just pray those algorithms can turn water into cash before the shareholders revolt.
Grayscale reveals revenue drop in IPO filing, claims it's just a crypto hiccup. In the digital gold rush, Grayscale's IPO is like selling shovels with holes, hoping investors won't notice until they are knee-deep.
Governor announces missing miner's body found in West Virginia mine, where safety was apparently as scarce as clean coal. When your job description includes may involve spelunking in a watery grave, maybe it's time to rethink energy policies.
Digital Dreams partners with Kevin Colt promises a virtual concert to outshine reality. In the metaverse where dreams are coded, this collab might just be the soundtrack to a digital dystopia wrapped in catchy beats.
Only 50% of Europeans own homes, while real estate tycoons call it a vibrant market. For the West, the vibrant market is a landlord's paradise, and they're just paying the mortgage on someone else's dream.
Goldman Sachs secures largest payday on EA deal, proving that the rich can indeed get richer with just a touch of corporate magic. When your bank account looks like a monopoly board, you know capitalism's game is rigged for the house.
When the land you've lived on for centuries isn't on the map, it's a bit like trying to save a rainforest with a plastic straw.
Anthropic reveals AI-driven cyber attack, proving once again that Pandora's box is just a cloud server away from a digital apocalypse. When AI goes rogue, it's like letting the fox design the henhouse security system. What could possibly go wrong?
Because nothing says peaceful diplomacy like a spear, especially when you've got the world's largest stick to wave around.
Only 30% of families escape mother-in-law drama, and Slate calls it a modern miracle. When your family feels like an episode of Survivor-in-Law edition, maybe it's time to vote someone off the island, or at least set up some emotional immunity challenges.
Justice Department sues to block California map as democracy becomes a game of musical chairs with everyone fighting for the last seat. When politicians redraw lines more than a toddler with a new box of crayons, you know representation is just a coloring book illusion.
Pakistani parliament grants army chief legal immunity, calls it a step toward democracy. When the generals get a get-out-of-jail-free card, you might wonder if the Monopoly game's rigged or if they just bought the board.
US stocks barely budge despite tech rebound as government promises more data. When the market's a seesaw and the government's the kid who forgot how to play, expect a lot of ups and downs, but not much fun.
ChatGPT helps women win Virginia lottery. Then she donates every dollar because the real jackpot is sticking it to capitalism. When even algorithms have better ethics than billionaires, maybe it's time to reconsider who's really winning the game of life.
Only 25% of Americans believe Trump is sane, yet media keeps polishing his image. When the circus is in town and the clown is in charge, the ringmaster's job is to keep everyone believing it's a symphony.
Waymo announces driverless highway trips, claims speed will make up for the lack of a human touch. When your car starts driving itself, who needs a backseat driver? Just wait until it starts asking for gas money and a Spotify subscription.
FCC boss Brendan Carr refuses to end news distortion probes, dismissing bipartisan calls with a casual, "How about no?" When regulators start sounding like petulant teenagers, you know the truth is more distorted than the headlines they claim to protect.
Only 12% of shoppers buy Christmas trees early, and retailers still call it a festive frenzy. Turns out the best time to buy a Christmas tree is when you're ready to embrace the pine-scented chaos and the impending vacuuming of needles.
After decades of research, Aqua Bounty engineers salmon for consumption, calling it a natural evolution. Because nothing screams natural evolution quite like a fish that owes its existence to a lab coat and a pipette. Bon appetit, my fellow Frankenfoodies.
Bureau of Labor Statistics delays September jobs report to November 20th, solving a problem created by their own government shutdown. When your economic crystal ball is 2 months late, maybe it's time to admit you're just shaking a snow globe and calling it data.
PIMCO's CIO of global credit exits, leaving behind a trail of derivatives and dreams. When the titans of finance jump ship, it's like rats leaving a sinking yacht, except the rats have golden parachutes and stock options.
Trump's ambassador linked to Epstein emails, seeking children's photos, but calls it a harmless misunderstanding. When your diplomatic credentials involve a side hustle and sleaze, it's time to redefine what ambassador really means, maybe to ambassador of bad optics.
AI revives 3,000-year-old Babylonian hymn, proving machines have better memory than most humans. While AI resurrects ancient melodies, humanity struggles to remember last week's news. Maybe we should let the machines handle our history books too.
Windows president defends Windows 11, admits AI backlash but promises more updates soon. When your software's main feature is a future apology, maybe it's time to consider a career in retro gaming.
Trump declares anti-communism week,
despite capitalism's own history of economic wreckage and inequality. When your policies need a scapegoat as old as the Cold War, maybe it's time for a new history lesson.
Israeli warplanes launched 3 airstrikes on Beit Lahia, and peace remains as elusive as a unicorn in a minefield. When solutions are as scarce as unicorns, maybe it's time to rethink strategies that only dig deeper into the trenches of despair.
Tank exposes cybercriminal secrets from jail, while tech giants still claim ignorance about data breaches.
When diplomacy is buried under the rubble of war, the real casualty is hope, suffocated by the smoke of endless conflict.
Trump administration sues Gavin Newsom over voter-approved redistricting, claiming fairness is unconstitutional. When democracy becomes a legal battlefield, it's less about justice and more about who can gerrymander the loudest.
California revokes 17,000 immigrant commercial licenses, citing a clerical error. When bureaucracy fumbles, it's always the little guy who gets run over by the paperwork steamroller.
UK plans levy on international students' tuition fees, but top university leader calls it economic self-sabotage. When the cash cow's milk runs dry, the UK's golden opportunity will be left grazing on the withered pastures of isolation.
ADHD linked to rare genetic variants, suggesting neurons are just as rebellious as the kids they inhabit. Turns out, even our genes have a wild side, throwing genetic house parties that leave parents and policymakers bewildered.
Peruvian bus crash kills 37, highlighting the deadly consequences of neglected road safety. In a country where mountains outnumber safety, it's a grim reminder that the road to ruin is paved.
France marks Bataclan anniversary, still haunted by an enemy that prefers persistence over politeness. Like a bad sequel no one asked for, terrorism keeps rerunning its grim narrative, proving that some nightmares just won't fade.
Musk's xAI raises $15 billion, claiming it's for innovation, while the rest of us wonder if it's just a new toy fund. Elon Musk collects billions like they're Pokemon cards, each one a shiny badge of tech supremacy, while the world waits for the next ethical glitch.
ICE targets Jeremy for deportation, but Syracuse's Underground Railroad spirits him away to freedom.
Cabot Group cuts sales outlook after foot traffic drops, yet CFO calls it more accessible as customers clearly access it less. When even a quick quinoa bowl feels like a luxury, you know the economy's tighter than skinny jeans on Thanksgiving.
Cybercriminals transform Telegram into a malware haven with Fantasy Hub Android Trojan, and Telegram calls it innovation. When your messaging app becomes the hacker's playground, it's less about chatting and more about dodging digital landmines.
South Korea court issues arrest warrant for former spy chief, claiming martial law declarations just a casual Tuesday meeting. When your weekly planner includes coups, maybe it's time to rethink your calendar, or at least your job description.
IEA predicts world oil demand could rise until 2050, and they call this appearance.
Study links all lupus cases to common virus, contradicting decades of medical guesswork. Turns out, the mystery of lupus might just be a viral game of hide and seek, where the virus wins by default.
Only 10% of people grasp speciation supergene concept, and scientists call it common knowledge.
Trump touts his MRI as part of a checkup, calling it the best result ever. In a world where facts are flexible and spin is king, even an MRI becomes a presidential pageant of perfection.
Meta and NVIDIA AI frameworks exposed by critical bugs, then they called it an exciting opportunity for improvement. Looks like AI's got more holes than Swiss cheese, and big tech's offering us a taste test.
Vinted plans US expansion after 10 billion euros GMV, then claims secondhand is the new luxury. Because nothing says high fashion like wearing someone else's cast-offs while Vinted cashes in on your closet clean-out.
IAEA demands access to Iran's nuclear sites, then calls it overdue diplomacy.
Pennsylvania sheriff cuts ICE deal, then loses his badge in a democracy check. Turns out, deputizing your officers to play border patrol in the land of brotherly love isn't the warmest way to win hearts. Or votes.
Democratic blowouts boost Shapiro for 2026, yet GOP envisions a competitive governor's race. In the political circus, each side hands out tickets to their own reality show, but only the voters decide who gets the encore.
Faith No More drops Cuckoo for Kaka, and the chaos is deliciously unhinged. Alt Metal gets a shot of raw defiance as the band mocks consumer culture with a sonic hurricane, proving that sanity is overrated.
International Energy Agency warns of considerable downside risk to Russian oil output, yet stalls on forecasting impact due to enforcement vagueness. Sanctions loom like an oil spill on the horizon, yet the IEA plays the waiting game, proving that predictions are best served lukewarm.
Jim Simmons turned $5,000 into $31 billion, yet most think they can replicate it with a YouTube tutorial. Turns out, financial alchemy requires more than just watching a millionaire's TikTok. It's like trying to bake a souffle with a microwave and a dream.
Researchers highlight exoskeletons' impact on spinal injuries, yet insurance calls it experimental. When tech can raise the fallen, but bureaucracy keeps them grounded, it's a cruel dance of hope versus red tape.
Virtual K-pop project. Rain After Storm releases Dance of Shadows, and it's entirely AI generated. When your favorite pop star is a line of code, remember, at least they won't have a scandalous dating life to distract from their auto-tune.
Swiss government announces U.S. tariffs will be cut to 15%, calls it a win for diplomacy. When the Swiss make a move, it's neutral in flavor but rich in irony, like fondue at a peace summit.
Florida GOP candidate's Bitcoin mine disrupts Michigan school, claims it's a sound investment. When your educational environment sounds more like a techno rave than a learning space, maybe it's time to rethink your definition of sound investment.
National billionaires eat first campaign targets Trump and GOP for aid cuts after billionaires receive massive tax breaks. When the rich dine on gold-plated caviar, the rest of us scrape by with ramen because trickle-down economics is really just a fancy term for crumbs.
U.S. stock market defies plunging consumer sentiment, claims everything's fine. When Wall Street's mood is the only thing soaring, you've got to wonder if the brokers are just high on their own fumes.
Bank of France plans to raise GDP forecasts, despite political chaos that should have been the economic equivalent of a hurricane. Apparently, resilience means the rich get richer, while the rest of us are left to wonder if we can use economic resilience to pay the rent.
EU Chief Justice condemns Orban, calls Hungary's government a serious threat to democracy. When the judiciary's got more drama than a soap opera, you know the plot's thicker than a Hungarian goulash.
Woolroom Slash's luxury woolly mattress priced to $2,340, but it still smells like a sheep's day off. For a bed that costs more than a used car, you'd think they'd managed to deodorize the barnyard ambience.
Only 0% of houses are guaranteed to increase in value, but parents still debate whether to gift homes or cash. In the real estate game of musical chairs, the only winner is the taxman, while your daughter learns that investment is just a fancy word for gamble.
Democrats claim victory after shutdown, but critics say they handed Trump a win on a silver platter. It's like demanding the last cookie and then letting the bully eat it while you watch, claiming you negotiated the crumbs.
Billionaire Saad family buys Carrefour steak, claiming it's for the love of groceries. Because nothing says we care about your weekly produce, like billionaires playing Monopoly with your local supermarket chains.
Artist of Chicago's Bean sculpture condemns CBP photo use, calls it utterly horrific. When your art reflects society, but society insists on warping it into a funhouse mirror of surveillance and border control.
Major porn studios unite to create a code of conduct, claiming ethical innovation in an industry famed for its lack thereof. When the titans of adult entertainment start talking ethics, you know the punchline is just around the corner, wrapped in the finest satin of irony.
Trump supporters reject Hollywood liberals' sympathy, demand instead a reality show where facts are optional. When your political identity thrives on drama, who needs empathy when you can have a primetime slot for alternative truths?
Stellan Skarsgård claims he's done it all, from serious art to soft porn to souffles, daring us to find a film without him. Skarsgård's filmography is like a buffet, where the souffles are the only thing that don't leave a questionable aftertaste.
Nature corrects a September article, fixing a typo in the exponential waiting time model, and the universe of scientific accuracy breathes a sigh of relief, because nothing says cutting-edge computational science like a misplaced minus sign threatening to unravel the very fabric of scientific rigor.
Kosovo's Serbian Orthodox Church caught between distrustful Pristina and unimpressed Belgrade, each side disappointed by its nationalistic fervor or lack thereof. In the Game of Thrones that is Balkan geopolitics, the Church finds itself a pawn, while the faithful cling to their clergy like life rafts.
Yes, debut to cemetery and in a dazzling feat of historical amnesia, the cemetery's curators apparently decided that honoring the full spectrum of sacrifice was just too much truth for today's visitors to handle.
Maine's rural voters may embrace Democrat Graham Plattner's populism, yet remain skeptical of his party's wider agenda. Plattner's folksy charm and homegrown rhetoric might win hearts, but the Democratic brand is as welcome as a snowstorm in July.
India avoids blaming Pakistan for Delhi blast, then escalates tension with silence. By choosing discretion over declaration, India seems to be playing the long game of diplomatic dodgeball, hoping to avoid another round of mutually assured destruction while everyone else holds their breath.
When recycling 80s heartbreak anthems becomes a business model, even Spotify's algorithm starts to feel like a time machine with a broken reverse gear.
Indian police station blast kills 9, then officials call it accidental. In a region where tensions are as explosive as the confiscated stockpile, the accidental detonation serves as a grim reminder that even peacekeepers can become unwitting victims in this powder keg of a conflict.
Trump White House uses Taylor Swift's music in TikTok, then fans demand explanation. When the soundtrack of rebellion becomes the jingle of authority, it's like finding out your favorite punk band is headlining a corporate retreat. Swifties, get ready for a plot twist.
Brazilian mills raise raw sugar prices by 3%, then switch focus to ethanol. When your cane sugar dreams turn to ethanol nightmares, it's like realizing your sweet tooth is driving a gas guzzler.
Bitcoin plummets to 6-month low as long-term holders panic sell. When even the diamond hands start to sweat, it seems the crypto dream is slipping faster than a politician's promise post-election.
US economy withstands shutdown without improvement and Wall Street calls it a win. When not worse is the new better. It's like celebrating because your boat has just enough holes to keep you floating.
Y Combinator selects 80 startups, promises innovation, but delivers same old tech buzzwords. When disruptive means reinventing the wheel with more venture capital, the only thing they're breaking is the bank.
Goop redraws 50 districts, Democrats counter with 51. Both parties claim victory in democracy's tug-of-war. When political maps look like a Jackson Pollock painting, it's hard to tell if the voters or the politicians are more abstract.
Timisoara Mayor Dominic Fritz aces citizenship interview, but still leads without full rights. Like a rock star who sells out the stadium but can't get backstage, Fritz is the mayor without a passport to his own show.
As Attorney General investigates Joanna Howe's anti-abortion fundraiser, calls it a game. When your fundraiser's a game, but the stakes are women's rights, maybe it's time to fold your cards and shuffle a new deck.
Trump dismisses Epstein questions, suggests moving on, as if justice has an expiration date, In a world where attention spans rival goldfish, justice for victims is left to swim upstream against a current of selective memory.
President Trump clashes with Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene over Epstein files, proving irony is alive and well. When your biggest fight is over, who gets to play with the Pandora's box of dirty secrets? Maybe it's time to reevaluate your priorities.
Donald Trump pardons UK billionaire Joe Lewis, who pled guilty to insider trading. Looks like justice is a game of Monopoly now, where the rich buy a get-out-of-jail-free card with a presidential handshake.
Oil prices surge after Russian port attack, shrugging off global glut concerns. It's the classic tale of supply and demand, where destruction and sanctions are the new market darlings. Who knew chaos could be such a lucrative commodity?
Keir Starmer attempts to fend off potential PM challengers as his charisma deficit threatens to tip the scales. When the most exciting thing about your leadership is the absence of excitement, it might be time to borrow some of Boris's bluster.
Only 12% of post-rock fans find peace in Cloud Indoor's latest, and the label calls it groundbreaking. In the echo chamber of existential riffs, even the silence gets a standing ovation. Maybe it's time we all just go sleep.
MBDA plans to launch its RCM Serre missile from the ground by 2027, promising peace through more firepower. When your best peace plan is a missile that can launch from anywhere, maybe it's time to question the definition of defense.
Blue Origin lands a massive booster offshore on second attempt, declaring victory over gravity and basic expectations. When your space race competitor is a tech mogul with a Martian fetish, even a second place trophy feels like a moonwalk.
Waste Streeting denies plotting to oust the Prime Minister, but ambition is the new political pandemic.
US withdrew $900 million from IMF account, then called it strategic debt management. When your financial strategy resembles a high-stakes poker game, it's not the house that wins, it's the bluff that pays.
UK judge holds BHP Group accountable for Brazil's worst environmental disaster, and the company calls it an unfortunate misstep. Turns out, when you play God with nature, sometimes you get smited by a gavel instead of lightning.
Epstein gave May journalists tips about Trump, then silence reigned. When the truth is whispered in shadows and never sees the light, it's the powerful who get to keep their secrets snug in the dark.
Only 10% of Africa's youth find stable employment, and leaders call it a challenge. When your solution to unemployment is to wait until the next century, you're not driving economic growth. You're hitchhiking on a road to nowhere.
Only 30% of new data centers face opposition, and tech companies call it a minor inconvenience. When your neighborhood's new landmark is a server farm, it's not just the internet that's buffering, it's the locals' patience too.
Trump dumps Green for loyalty issues, then praises her fundraising skills. When even your political alliances resemble a reality TV breakup, you've got to wonder if the White House is just a soap opera with nukes.
When your cinematic future is decided by a magazine, it's clear the Oscars are just glorified high school superlatives.
Schumer urged 2028 Dem hopefuls to silence, fearing critiques of the shutdown deal might spark a truth epidemic. When politicians treat transparency like a disease, you know they've swapped their moral compasses for political GPS.
When your qualifications are as transparent as a politician's promise, even the courtroom can't help but roll its eyes.
Swedish police report multiple deaths after bus crashes into Stockholm bus stop, turning a routine commute into a nightmare.
Fund invests $75 million in Mulilo, calling it a green leap, but coal's shadow still looms over South Africa. When cash meets clean energy, it's a tango of dollars and dreams, but old habits die harder than fossil fuels.
Trump administration bans US scientists from IPCC session, leaving a climate data chasm larger than his ego. When science takes a backseat to political theatrics, expect the planet to burn while leaders fiddle with their denial.
The
UN reports global hunger down in 2024, but Africa and Western Asia face rising famine, calling it progress. When the UN claims victory in global hunger while whole regions starve, it's like celebrating a dry patch in a flood.
US sees Cambodia's Hun money as partner, but trust is a currency not easily traded in the Indo-Pacific. When the US courts Cambodia, it's like dating someone with a history of ghosting your calls.
Pliant Digital Corp offers $2 $35 billion junk bond at steep discount, claiming it's a strategic move. When a junk bond is your market strategy, it's like selling a sinking ship as an oceanfront property. Bold, but only fools buy it.
Taliban condemns Islamabad blast, yet peace talks could implode quicker than a cheap firework. The only thing more fragile than these talks is the illusion that anyone's surprised by their constant derailment.
Vista Energy claims melee reforms could double output by 2030, praising less tax and more flexibility. When corporate dreams ride on political promises, it's like trusting a mirage to quench your thirst, glittering and illusory till reality hits.
BBC apologizes to Trump but snubs his cash demand, offering only words. When your ego's as inflated as a parade balloon, a simple sorry just won't cut it, not even from the Beeb.
Judge rules ICE arrest a Chicago daycare worker unlawful, leading to her release and a collective sigh of relief from the community. When justice finally pierces the bureaucracy of fear, it feels like the sun breaking through a storm, unexpected and overdue.
Trump attacks lunatic Marjorie Taylor Greene just as Epstein's scandals grip around him, tightens like a noose around a guilty neck. When the chaos maestro loses his tune, the cacophony only grows louder, and the dance floor empties one scandal at a time.
Because when you're living in a gold-plated tower, the price of milk is just a number on someone else's receipt.
Swedish bus crashes into Stop Killing 6, but police say it's not an attack. When your morning commute turns into a game of dodgeball with a bus, it's a wake-up call that public transport should not come with a side of adrenaline.
New 7 Tesla MRI maps brain anticipation but can't predict your next bad decision. While the MRI can unveil how your brain manages your body's needs, it still can't help you avoid that third slice of cake or texting your ex.
Demolition derby car plows into grandstand, and the event organizers call it an unplanned interactive experience. Because nothing says family fun like dodging a 2-ton hunk of metal careening through your popcorn and cotton candy.
White House press secretary denies Epstein email scandal, insists Trump is innocent. In a world where a denial is just a press conference away, the truth and its consequences remain as elusive as a politician's promise.
As the tech giants stack trillions like Jenga blocks, the average worker is left holding a paycheck that feels like monopoly money.
Nick Fuentes. When your bigotry gets you booted from more places than a cowboy in a saloon, maybe it's time to rethink the hat.
OpenAI can't fix Sora's copyright issues. Building a product on a foundation of sticky fingers is like constructing a mansion on quicksand, grand until it all sinks under the weight of its own duplicity.
Akin, arrested in Georgia over suspended license, calls it a clerical error. When even your paperwork needs a PR agent, maybe it's time to invest in a filing cabinet. Or a better story.
When your trial sounds like a lunchtime special, justice might be served with extra mustard and a side of irony.
When opulence goes on clearance, you know the economic forecast is gloomier than a British winter, dreary, endless, and impossible to escape without an umbrella.
Epstein email suggests Trump-Clinton liaison, raises more eyebrows than plausible scenarios.
Turns out, the only prophecy that failed was the one claiming cognitive dissonance would keep a cult afloat. Sometimes reality just packs up and leaves.
Adani Group plans investor event in Singapore for November, hoping to dazzle global investors with more than just a PowerPoint presentation. When your business strategy includes exotic locations and free hors d'oeuvres, it's clear the real investment is in smoke and mirrors, not transparency.
EU ministers propose 12-step economic plan, yet ignore climate change and inequality. It's like trying to fix a leaky boat with a band-aid while ignoring the iceberg dead ahead. Spoiler alert, the iceberg wins.
Japan's Ministry of Defense denies Okinawa funding for cleaning forever chemicals, because who needs clean water when you've got military bases? When the choice is between public health and military might, it's clear that drinking water is just collateral damage in the war of priorities.
US brands 4 European anti-fascist groups as terrorists, yet ignores domestic extremism. Fighting fascism now makes you a terrorist, but homegrown hate groups get a free pass. It's like banning fire extinguishers during a blaze.
US military plans divided Gaza with a green zone because nothing says peace like carving up territories with military precision. In the grand tradition of solving problems by making them more complex, the US is turning Gaza into a geopolitical Rubik's Cube that no one asked to solve.
Only 1% of the wealthy
Class warfare's back.
YouTube scouts sign Everton's Iliman Ndiaye, hailed as the TikTok Pele by fans. Football's now a social media reality show, where likes and shares outweigh talent. Who needs scouts when you've got viral views?
Lexi Liu drops new track X, proving pop is still the most rebellious act in a world trying to pigeonhole art. While global leaders play musical chairs with power, Lexi Liu is out here turning pop into the anthem of defiance.
California prepares for 5 inches of rain, calls it a once-in-a-century event. When climate change turns your state into a soggy Atlantis, maybe it's time to rethink beachfront property and start investing in canoes. When everyone's a supporting actor, the real star must be the director's ego, strutting down the red carpet in a tux.
Meryl Streep demands more devilish couture in The Devil Wears Prada 2, while fashionistas everywhere clutch their pearls. If only our politicians could strut the runway with the same commitment to style as Miranda Priestley, maybe we'd all be better dressed and less oppressed.
Only 0% of online classes feature licensed music, and Zhao hopes for a miracle. In the age of AI, Shazam could identify your soul, yet here we are, stumped by a 3-second riff.
It's like the man is playing a geopolitical game of Tinder, swiping right on autocrats who flatter him and left on those who don't.
Bucks County Sheriff loses job after ice deal, despite claiming it strengthened community safety. Apparently, nothing says community safety like turning your local deputies into ICE agents. Maybe next time try protecting rights instead of deporting them.
FCC boss Brendan Carr refuses to end news distortion probes, dismissing criticism from 4 former chairs, 3 of whom are Republicans. When even the ghosts of Republican past say you're off track, maybe it's time to check the map before you drive off the cliff.
NATO constructs new corridor linking 8 nations, calls it a fast track for military reinforcements. Because nothing screams peace and unity like a high-speed express lane for tanks and troops. Just what every European vacation needs, a military parade and fast forward.
Epstein offered Kremlin meeting to US President for insight. Emails reveal, but insight isn't exactly what he's known for.
Epstein emails uncover ongoing connections with power players post-conviction, because some friendships just can't be derailed by a little felony. Networking tip: forget LinkedIn, just add a criminal record for that extra edge in maintaining elite circles. It's not nepotism if it's a felony, right? Biofuel battery mimics human metabolism, but unlike your morning coffee, it actually powers something more than a caffeine buzz. Finally, a way to convert your breakfast into power without the side effects of existential dread and a mid-afternoon crash. Take that, coffee beans.
Only 30% of adults would use ultra-processed foods, yet colorectal cancer precursors spike like a bad punchline. Turns out, your favorite neon orange snack might be plotting
a hostile takeover.
While the world keeps spinning, the ink-stained wretches left behind are wondering who'll dare to be as brave and brilliantly irreverent as Rachel.
In the world of hip-hop, flashing your wealth is as essential as autotune, but remember, those diamond chains won't pay your taxes or your therapist.
From a nickname to a 4th of July bash, Micah Do reminds us that sometimes rebellion is just an act in red nose and floppy shoes.
Colombia's Petro buys 17 fighter jets for $4.3 billion, calls it a peacekeeping measure.
Indianapolis Zoo recaptures chimp after escape, but freedom dreams linger. Even chimps know when it's time to swing away from captivity, yet they keep coming back, just like certain unmentionable politicians.
Trump administration declares Epstein scandal a chronic disease, but offers no cure. It's like they've decided to put corruption on the national health plan, except this pre-existing condition only gets worse with each news cycle.
It's the financial equivalent of playing chicken with a landslide, except the boulders are made of unpaid bills and investor demands.
When the music stops, it's still the same tune, the rich get richer and the rest of us get the bill.
Trump administration considers Venezuelan oil grab, claims it's a liberation mission. It's the classic freedom fries maneuver. Dress up naked resource grabs in the emperor's new clothes of democracy and hope no one notices the oil slick.
Russell Brand praises RFK Jr., calls medical establishment flat-out evil to a restless crowd of 800. When comedians become prophets, you know the show's gone off script and the punchlines are on us.
Indonesian government calls landslide tragedy unforeseen after weeks of meteorologist warnings. Apparently, ignoring Mother Nature's memos is now a bureaucratic pastime. When the earth speaks, maybe it's time to listen before it swallows entire villages. Because nothing says welcome like taxing tourists to the point of extinction. Who knew the solution to a crowded party was charging more at the door?
Rep. Lauren Boebert defies White House, insists on Epstein files release, but transparency is a rare souvenir from this political circus. When a conspiracy theorist demands truth, it's like asking a magician to reveal their tricks, just smoke, mirrors, and more illusion.
Barbies refuse to sell Agrofert, claiming legal magic will fix conflicts. It's like trying to convince your partner that your dating profile is just a hobby. Legal loopholes are the new romance language.
Nature Index tracks research articles
boasting objectivity, yet it's curated by insiders. It's like asking foxes to rank henhouses' nice feathers, but the chickens aren't fooled. So much for unbiased science.
Texas Rep. James Talarico defends tweets claiming his campaign embraces all Texans despite their income sources. Translation: whether you're hustling stocks or selling grilled cheese, your vote's welcome.
Only 5% of TikTok fans make it to Spotify. Every algorithm calls it a success story. In the digital jungle, everyone's a rock star until the next viral cat video steals their stage. Keep scrolling.
Jonathan Richman releases I'm a Little Airplane.
Scientists manage pyramidal nitrogen chirality with organocatalysis, claiming it's a breakthrough. Because apparently, the universe was just waiting for chemists to play matchmaker with nitrogen atoms, proving once again that chemistry is just molecular speed dating.
Kim Kardashian's Skims valued at $5 billion, then promises even more underwear stores. When your net worth outgrows your waistline, the only logical step is to spread your empire one pair of shapewear at a time. Call it the new American dream.
Trump administration drops 60,000 private sector jobs, calls it fiscal responsibility. Only Trump could spin a job loss into a budgetary victory lap, proving once again that economics is just his reality TV show.
Only 20% of historians agree on Omar Khayyam's legacy, and academia calls it a consensus. When time's an irreversible river, the scholars just keep paddling upstream, hoping no one notices they are rowing in circles.
Hollywood revives Michael Jackson biopic, promises it won't flop like Springsteen's. When your legacy moonwalks between genius and controversy, maybe it's time to let the music speak without the CGI resurrection. But hey, nostalgia sells, right?
Jury orders Apple to pay $634 million to Massimo, then Apple calls it a minor setback. In the tech world, stealing ideas is just innovation with a bigger budget and a better lawyer.
Trump super PAC spends millions in Tennessee special election, claims it's about democracy. Because nothing says grassroots support like a billionaire-funded blitzkrieg on a state that already votes redder than Mars.
Pennsylvania legislature approves education budget, nonprofits exhale, but schools still starved for resources. In the land of Liberty Bells and brotherly love, education gets a lifeline that's more duct tape than lifeboat, leaving schools to patch holes with good intentions.
Bipartisan duo claims they'll force Epstein files vote today, but guess what's missing? Accountability. It's like watching the world's lowest striptease, where transparency is teased but never revealed, leaving justice to die of boredom.
Study reveals growth hormone excess accelerates liver aging, but doctors still prescribe it like candy. It's the miracle of modern medicine, turning your liver into a vintage relic while chasing eternal youth. Who knew the fountain of youth came with a side of organ decay?
Wall Street banks invade venture capital's domain, then call it innovation. When the wolves of Wall Street start dressing like venture capitalists, you know the sheep are about to get fleeced in bespoke suits.
OnePlus 15 launches at $900 solves nothing new. 2-day battery life? Great, now you can ignore your existential dread for 48 hours without interruption. But hey, at least it's waterproof.
Vince Gilligan's latest Pluribus is more X-Files than Breaking Bad, and Albuquerque returns but with... Trading blue crystals for alien conspiracies, Gilligan's Albuquerque is now a UFO hotspot, proving even fictional cities need to diversify their crime portfolios.
House Democrats push Code Pink-backed resolution, accuse Israel of genocide. As accusations fly, the House transforms into a circus with clowns juggling resolutions while the world burns outside the tent.
House passes bill reopening government as Epstein revelations overshadow legislative victory. While the nation breathes a sigh of relief, the ghosts of Epstein's past haunt the corridors of power, whispering secrets louder than any vote.
Epic CEO Tim Sweeney declares generative AI political while slamming ARC Raiders review for critiquing its AI usage. Because nothing screams objective critique like a CEO defending his pet tech by declaring it a political hot potato. Maybe next he'll say game glitches are a bipartisan issue.
House Republicans released 20,000 pages of Epstein documents, calling it transparency. As the paper mountain grows, so does the stink of opportunism, with lawmakers scavenging for political leverage like vultures on a carcass.
EU leverages Article 3 of CDSN Directive for public AI models, promising innovation but delivering bureaucracy. Because nothing says futuristic AI revolution like a pile of paperwork that could choke a robot. Europe's answer to innovation: more red tape, less red carpet.
Cutting lifelines to the most vulnerable while wearing a fiscal halo is like burning down the house to save on heating bills.
When anime meets techno, the result is a catchy tune that haunts your dreams and makes you question your Spotify recommendations.
Trump's inflation costs families $700 monthly, blames global factors. It's like blaming your dog for eating homework you never did. Convenient, but the math still doesn't add up in your favour.
Turkish authorities recover 20 crash victims' remains, declare mission accomplished.
Bank of Jan sells 5-year bonds at lowest price, yet investors shrug. When financial forecasts are as exciting as watching paint dry, it's no surprise economics feels like a spectator sport for insomniacs.
Ireland challenges Portugal, bets on luck over skill in World Cup qualifier. In a showdown that feels like David versus Goliath, Ireland hopes their lucky charms can outshine Ronaldo and co. Spoiler alert. Belief in fairies might not be enough to secure a spot in 2026.
Iraqi PM al-Sudani's coalition wins 1.3 million votes, claims it's a victory for democracy. When voter turnout barely passes 50%, calling it a success is like celebrating a C on a pop quiz.
Shelters for displaced Palestinians in Gaza flood, as millions brace for winter without relief. When rain... Desperation...
New gadget harnesses raindrops for energy, solves nothing about droughts. It's a quirky little invention that promises to turn your soggy afternoons into electrifying events. But let's be real. Until we can charge our phones with a drizzle, this is just a damp squib in the flood of renewable energy hype.
When billionaires play monopoly with currency, the only infrastructure really growing is the bridge between greed and ambition.
US military strike on Venezuela threatens oil supply, risking global market chaos. When oil and power dance, the world gets dizzy. It's amazing how a superpower can trip on its own fuel line and call it strategy.
Israel receives another deceased hostage from Hamas, calls it an act of goodwill. When goodwill is a body bag, we've officially redefined humanitarian gestures. In this twisted tale of diplomacy, it seems the only thing more scarce than peace is a silver lining.
European nations pledge billions at COP30, but climate clock keeps ticking. Throwing money at a melting ice cap is like trying to put out a fire with a fancy check. It might look good, but sure doesn't cool things down.
Opera fans laud Dot Wayne's A Fateful End. Ticket prices hit €400. When your wallet weeps louder than the soprano, you know culture's become an elite sport. Where's the aria for the common folk?
Trump administration escalates immigration crackdown, sending Border Patrol to Charlotte, while claiming it's about safety. When your weekend plans include a Border Patrol parade, you know the land of the free is now the land of the frisked.
SCOTUS may cancel tariffs, leaving US owing $1 trillion in refunds. Ah, the tech industry, where even the refunds are bigger than our dreams. Will we finally see trickle-down economics, or just another golden shower for the elite?
When your savings are stuck in an endless inflation tango, Expect more dance lessons before the rate cut cha-cha.
Toyota opens U.S. battery plant, confirms $10 billion investment plan solving climate change with more cars.
Air travel disruptions persist, while government shutdown drags on, leaving passengers with turbulence on the ground. When the government takes a siesta, your vacation plans become a baggage claim nightmare with no customer service in sight.
Trump's economy stalls as job growth halts, and the only thing growing is the list of excuses. When your economic strategy is a magic show, expect the rabbits to stop appearing and the audience to start booing.
The Alan Parsons Project bets on a friendly card, soundtracks existential dread with progressive rock since 1980. Because nothing says welcome to adulthood like realizing life's a casino and the house always wins. Spin that wheel, dreamers.
With treating slams, BMAs, NHS threat, while doctors prepare to strike for survival. When the healers become the hunted, it's clear the system's sicker than the patients it fails to treat.
When your playlist feels like a mixtape from the universe's most indecisive DJ, you know it's a trip through time without a map.
Trump declares victory over inflation, then blames Fed for economic woes. When your strategy is to claim the win and pin the loss, it's like playing Monopoly with rules that change every roll.
Trump uses Taylor Swift's music for rallies, yet she remains silent. When the soundtrack of your campaign is from someone who wouldn't be caught dead at your party, irony hits a high note.
When pop stars do more than the titans of industry, it's clear who's actually got a heart and who's got a vault.
Trump signed spending bill. Seems like a new reality show. How low can you go? Starring a government held hostage by its own star. Stay tuned for reruns.
Bamberg's old town hall stands over the river, defying gravity like politicians defy accountability. A picturesque relic reminding us that some structures hold firm while others, like truth in politics, crumble at the slightest breeze.
Morgan Stanley backs Micron stock, despite 180% rally, claiming AI demand will rocket profits. When your stock's already on a sugar high, why not toss in some caffeine and see if it hits the moon? Wall Street's got its pom-poms out.
Foreign capital might soon pack its bags, leaving Kenya to ponder whether squeezing every penny is worth the price of economic solitude.
Disney flexes muscle, forces YouTube TV to concede after 2-week blackout, leaving 10 million subscribers without Disney Magic. In a world where streamers call the shots, consumers are left pawns in a game of corporate brinkmanship, their screens held hostage by content czars.
Nigeria cancels mother tongue teaching in schools, claims English supremacy is the new cultural enrichment. Why let kids learn in their own languages when you can shove colonial history down their throats and call it progress?
Pentagon installs Department of War plaques, as if rebranding will make endless conflicts any less bloody or bureaucratic. Like putting a fresh coat of paint on a tank, the name change cloaks the same old war machine in a shiny facade of nostalgia.
Why bother with tracking when you can live in suspense, wondering if your shirt's on a world tour without you?
Indian police accused Dr. Umar Nabi of Red Fort bombing, as if erasing history could be as simple as rewriting a script. Blaming a dead man and calling it justice is like pinning a medal on a ghost. Absolution without a trial. Closure without the truth.
Germany's oldest man dies at 110, having outlasted 4 regimes and the Ottoman Empire, proving longevity is the ultimate resistance.
Apple plans to replace CarPlay with subscription service, calling it an upgrade. Why settle for free connectivity when you can pay monthly for the privilege of accessing your own car's features?
Railway tracks in Poland blown up, stopping a train in Garwolin County, because nothing says progress like a return to 19th century sabotage tactics. In a world of high-tech espionage and cyber warfare, someone decided explosives and train delays were the future of conflict, retro but not in the cool way.
Trump cuts tariffs on beef and bananas, but keeps them on essentials like medical supplies. Because who needs affordable health care when you can have a fruit salad instead? Priorities, folks.
Protesters blockade COP30 summit, demanding Brazil's president listen to indigenous peoples because apparently climate justice doesn't include actually hearing from those most affected. When the world's leaders ignore the voices of those living in harmony with nature, it's not a climate summit, it's a carbon-heavy echo chamber.
Hedge funds dump stocks as retail investors fuel the bull market, even though Wall Street's elite claim the little guy couldn't handle the heat. It's like watching the finance gods say, "Let them eat stocks," while retail investors try to turn ramen into a retirement plan.
UK unveils self-driving cars, still stuck in traffic with human error. In a plot twist worthy of Black Mirror, the future arrives but forgets to update the roads. Welcome to Driverless Gridlock 25.
Peruvian authorities report 37 dead after bus plunges into ravine, yet safety measures remain as elusive as a politician's promise. When infrastructure is as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane, passengers become the unwitting gamblers in a deadly game of chance.
Only 5% of rare diseases get a diagnosis, and GI Rigor claims its progress. While Grigor accelerates genomics like a sports car in a school zone, 95% of patients still wait on the curb.
NZXT offers 50% off in November 2025, proving gamers will pay full price unless aesthetics get a discount. When your gaming rig's beauty becomes the only virtual reality worth investing in, perhaps it's time to upgrade the real-life graphics card called Perspective.
Rebel Rally bans GPS for 10-day off-road event, yet drivers find their way without digital breadcrumbs. In a world where even your toaster has GPS, navigating by compass and grit is the new off-road luxury.
Netflix launches TV, stream games at $2 per month solves no boredom. In the era of binge watching, Netflix thinks we're desperate enough to play Boggle on our TVs. Spoiler, the plot twist is disappointment.
UK government plans to scrap police commissioners, claiming it will improve accountability. Because nothing says better oversight like removing the very people meant to oversee. Who needs checks and balances when you have unchecked power?
Polish president proposes slashing electricity bills by 33%, but the power companies are still smiling. Because when the cost drops, but profits stay high, someone's still paying the price, and it's probably not the CEOs.
Former officer pleads guilty to lying about space crime, then NASA sighs in exasperation. Not all heroes wear capes, but some villains fabricate space heists. Next time, maybe try hacking gravity instead of bank accounts.
CBC lists Neil Young's top 25 songs, ignoring the ones that make corporations squirm. Because nothing says folk hero like a playlist that skips the tunes that call out greed and injustice, right?
Trump pardons billionaire Joe Louis for insider trading, then claims justice is served. When your wallet weighs more than your conscience, presidential pardons become the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. Who needs integrity when you got connections?
Trump plans to oust Maduro in Venezuela. Experts predict chaos and endless military quagmire. Because nothing screams strategic genius quite like jumping headfirst into another geopolitical mess, hoping for a different outcome this time.
Only 40% of Americans blame Democrats for shutdowns, and Republicans call it a victory.
Kayla Nicole deletes X account after past posts resurface, then apologizes for being hurtful. In the digital age, your past isn't just a ghost. It's a social media specter that can haunt you into oblivion. Apologies are the new delete button.
KKR values Medallia loan at 91 cents, calls it a bargain. When your financial competence is based on imagination, it's like selling a dream at a nightmare's price. Who needs reality when you've got creative accounting?
Pope Leo XIV implores actors to defy algorithms, claims salvation lies in popcorn.
Cambodia evacuates hundreds from Thai border, calls it a precaution. When diplomacy fails, it's time to pack up and pray. Nothing says neighborly love like a trip to the temple under duress.
Netflix bets on TV gaming and social play, hoping subscribers won't notice the plot holes. When binge watching turns into button mashing, Netflix figures if you won't stay for the cliffhanger, maybe you'll stick around for the high score. Who needs narrative when you have leaderboards?
Spitting never stops.
Trump administration to lose October job stats blames data black hole for vanishing accountability. When numbers go missing, it's not magic, it's misdirection. Who needs transparency when you can just declare a data Bermuda Triangle and call it a day?
Trump's drug price deals fail to cheer as biologics remain gold-plated and out of reach. When deals mean more profits for pharma and empty wallets for patients, it's less about lowering costs and more about raising hopes to let them crash.
Only 20% of new tracks break through, and every artist calls it a journey. In the cacophony of digital noise, finding an audience is like whispering in a hurricane. Sometimes the silence speaks louder than the storm.
Economist warns 90% face sea of despair, while top 10% sail smoothly on golden yachts. When the American dream turns into a nightmare for most, it's a sign the economy's more trick than treat, unless you're among the elite few.
OpenAI releases GPT 5.1 with 8 personalities, calls it progress and anthropomorphic charm. When your AI has more personalities than your ex, you know tech's aiming for relationship drama as the next market frontier.
White House withholds October economic data, blames shutdown for silencing the numbers. When transparency vanishes behind bureaucratic barricades, it's like a magic trick, except the rabbit's missing, and the audience is left with empty hacks and empty promises.
Reddit user TrumpFan Twin17 posts Radiohead cover, calls it rock.
House GOP braces for defections on Epstein files, fearing transparency. When the skeletons in the closet start to dance, even the most loyal party line walkers might just waltz away.
Nigel Farage's Reform UK implodes in Cornwall, with infighting more common than Cornish pasties. When your political movement crumbles faster than a buttered scone, it's clear the only reform happening is the one in the exit queue.
Megyn Kelly fumes at Satire site Mocker, proving irony is still a stranger. In a world where satire is the mirror, some folks just can't handle the reflection.
Ariana Grande ambushed by man at premiere. Cynthia Erivo plays real-life hero. When life throws a curveball, thank the universe for co-stars who can improvise protection as well as they can belt out show tunes.
Only 20% of letters implicating Trump and Epstein surface, and the White House calls it transparency. When your secrets are more guarded than a dragon's hoard, transparency is just a fancy word for we're still hiding the good stuff.
In a world where your financial future is as predictable as a reality TV plot twist, maybe it's time to let algorithms play the stock market's chaotic game of roulette.
President Trump blames Congress for shutdown, then demands tax cuts. It's like blaming the fire department for your house burning down while you light another match and ask them to pay for the water bill.
Scientists find 2 coral species functionally extinct, then blame climate change for the collapse of their underwater refuge. When your retirement plan is to hide in the depths and climate change still gets you, maybe it's time we stop just blaming the weather.
Colombian government shares intel with US, then denies drug trade ties.
When your scandals have more sequels than a Hollywood blockbuster, maybe it's time to reconsider the script and the star.
Sounds like the musical equivalent of eating a whole pint of ice cream while texting your ex at 3 a.m.
Wall Street billionaires dined with Trump, aiming to cripple Mamdani over tax fears. It's like watching the Monopoly board gang up on the kid with the most hotels because sharing is scary when you're hoarding all the play money.
Only 20% of indie albums break even, and Dog Park calls it success. In a world where breaking even is a triumph, Dog Park proves that barking up the right tree might just sound like a hit.
India treats deadly Delhi car blast as terror. Suspects still at large. When a car goes boom near a historic fort, it's not just a traffic violation. It's the kind of attention-grabbing act that makes even history hold its breath.
In the twisted world of power and privilege, women become trophies exchanged between the elite, as if humanity were just another luxury item.
Waymo's driverless car kills a cat, and suddenly it's not just humans questioning their safety. In the world of autonomous vehicles, it seems even Schrödinger's cat isn't safe from becoming roadkill. Now Waymo faces the ultimate existential question: who's really in the driver's seat?
When air travel becomes a one-way ticket to exile, it's less about reaching new heights and more about erasing entire communities.
Only 10% of workers join unions. In the battle of workers' rights, it seems the only thing unionized these days is the collective shrug from the corporate boardrooms.
Only 5% of new music reaches mainstream ears, and Sharp at One Shall Aid calls it progress. In the world of music, breaking through is like shouting into a hurricane and expecting to hear an echo.
Thundercat releases Dragon Ball Durag, then claims it's the ultimate accessory for your existential crisis. In a world where capes are out and Durags are in, Thundercat gives us the smooth soundtrack to our most stylish meltdowns.
The Kid Laroi type beat drops a Coldplay V2 promises to thaw your frozen teenage angst. When your heartbreak needs a beat and your emotions are on ice, this track's here to melt your inner drama queen.
Only 30% of students recognize credible sources, and the education system calls it enlightenment. In the age of misinformation, teaching kids to spot a credible source is like arming them with a flashlight in a blackout, necessary but woefully insufficient.
When sportsmanship takes a backseat to swinging fists, even the referees need helmets. Who knew soccer was a contact sport?
Zelensky vows energy sector cleanup after $100 million scandal, but the lights are still flickering. Promises to scrub corruption are like washing a leaky ship. You might stay afloat, but you're still sinking.
Only 12% of new tracks go viral, and Alaboy's paranoid instrumental is left spinning in obscurity. In the digital Wild West, even a catchy beat needs more than a link to escape the algorithmic tumbleweed.
Pirelli's Tronchetti claims peace with Sinochem, then US tire dreams stay flat. When boardroom drama meets rubber, it's less fast and furious and more slow and uncertain. Toothpaste made from hair promises no cavities, yet flossing still feels like dental purgatory. Trading split ends for split teeth, finally, a hair product that leaves us all biting back with a smile.
Scientists reverse kidney damage in mice, then cross fingers for humans. In the great race of medical miracles, we're always just one species away from the finish line. Here's hoping humanity's next in line for the magic trick.
Sweden promises South Korea an icebreaker deal, but the Arctic just keeps warming. When the ice melts before your ship's built, you know climate change is the real deal breaker.
Only 10% of Michigan families kept SNAP benefits, and the government calls it a glitch.
House schedules vote to release Epstein files, but only after a long weekend. Seems justice takes a holiday when it comes to the rich and infamous. Maybe they'll find a way to lose the key to that vault too.
Senator Vance praises moderate Democrats, then blames them for any shutdown fallout. It's the political equivalent of a backhanded compliment, showering accolades while secretly hoping they take the fall. Classic move for when you need a scapegoat with good PR.
Brazil warns Yi of arrest if he promotes Nazism at concert, but tickets still on sale. Apparently, hate speech is just a set list away from a sellout show. Maybe next they'll offer swastika merch at the concession stand.
Zelensky promises prisoner swap, but Russia holds the key. Swapping humans like trading cards.
UK bond investors doubt Labour's credibility, then Rachel Reeves ditches tax hike plans. When fiscal policy is as stable as a seesaw in a hurricane, it's no wonder investors are queasy. Promises are like bubblegum, sweet at first, but lose flavor fast.
EU bans cash payments over 10,000 euros, embraces digital ID for Bitcoin by 2027. Cash is too mainstream for the EU's taste. Welcome to the world where your wallet needs a passport.
Only 30% of NATO members increased defense budgets, and Putin calls it a sign of weakness. It's like showing up to a knife fight with a spork, just enough to poke the bear but not enough to stop it.
House passes spending bill after record shutdown, then high-fives itself for doing its job. When the bar for success is set at finally functioning, it's easy to call mediocrity a win. Congress's victory lap for basic governance is like celebrating a cat for coughing up a hairball.
DoJ issues seizure warrant to Starlink, then scammers find new ways to connect. Trying to stop cybercrime with a warrant is like trying to stop a flood with a sponge, ambitious but ultimately soaking in futility.
Only 40% of indie music fans discover hidden gems, and streaming platforms call it a recommendation triumph. While algorithms drown us in the mainstream, true indie finds are like rare vinyl, cherished, elusive, and often buried under digital noise.
WestJet outsources hundreds of jobs to El Salvador, calls it a strategy for global connection. Outsourcing customer service to another continent is the corporate equivalent of ghosting your own workforce. WestJet's global connection is less about connecting and more about disconnecting from local accountability.
Media outlets bury Epstein's alleged ties to Israeli intelligence, then claim journalistic integrity. When the truth is a cocktail of conspiracy and convenience, mainstream media prefers its martinis shaken, not stirred, with a splash of selective amnesia.
When an Englishman and a Jamaican crash the Great White Way, expect a reggae-tinged existential crisis served with a side of Broadway bravado.
Scott Wiener challenges housing crisis by running for Pelosi's seat, calls it the abundance theory. From battling NIMBYs to Congress, let's see if turning scarcity into plenty is as simple as swapping a district showdown for a national stage.
Netflix bids for Warner Bros. GOP rep warns of unequaled market power. Antitrust concerns? More like a blockbuster plot twist where Netflix tries to play the hero and monopolize the sequel. Someone check if they've trademarked Too Big to Stream. UN warns Sudan crisis displaces over 10 million. The world yawns. In a world where compassion is on a coffee break, Sudan becomes history's forgotten hashtag 10 million lives shuffled like cards and empathy folds.
Donald Trump leaves voicemail for Osborne family, calls Ozzy's death a tough thing, in uncharacteristic display of empathy. In a rare moment of presidential humanity, Trump's voicemail was reportedly more coherent than some of his speeches. Who knew the Prince of Darkness's demise could summon a flicker of compassion from the Orange One?
White House hunts ways to cut living costs, inflation laughs. With inflation grinning like a Cheshire cat, the White House plays hide and seek with affordability. Spoiler alert, the cost of living is winning.
Only 20% of workers see wage growth, while billionaires double wealth and CEOs call it economic recovery. In our K-shaped reality, the rich ride the luxury leg skyward, while the rest of us cling to the downward stroke. Call it the alphabet soup of inequality, where the only letters that matter are the ones in your bank account.
Chinese e-commerce giant stock jumps, triumphs over low expectations. Apparently setting the bar so low you need a metal detector to find it is the new corporate strategy. Investors cheer as mediocrity gets a makeover.
CRISPR cuts cholesterol by half in trial, but Big Pharma sweats. When a gene edit can outsmart your statins, it's only a matter of time before drug companies start editing their profit margins.
Jackrabbit NG Double banned from bike paths, sold as portable fun. When your ride's more outlaw than bicycle, you'll turn heads, break rules, and maybe just redefine what it means to commute with style.
Ryan Coogler announces Black Panther 3, then Marvel fans faint from anticipation. With Wakanda forever in our hearts, Coogler's next move promises to blend culture, action, and the kind of epic storytelling that makes us all wish for vibranium.
When a meal kit promises convenience at a discount, you might just be paying less for more disappointment. It's like paying for a concert ticket and getting a kazoo solo instead.
Venezuela deploys military forces nationwide, then Washington claims it's just about narco-terrorists. When your neighbor parks an aircraft carrier in the driveway and says it's just there for a barbecue, you might start locking your doors.
Only 20% of Epstein's story focuses on his crimes, and media calls it balanced coverage. When the narrative's more about his bank balance than the lives he wrecked, it's time to flip the script.
Only 50% of Neymar's potential realized, and his fans call it legendary. When you're crowned the heir to Ronaldo and Messi, but only manage to inherit their haircuts, it's less of a dynasty and more of a soap opera.
Gordon Wu predicts a housing boom, despite homebuyers carrying debt like it's a designer accessory. When optimism rests on the edge of a financial cliff, maybe it's time to check the parachutes, not just the interest rates.
In the Roaring Twenties, they danced on fortunes, only to find the music stopped and the floor gave way. Cue the encore of Hubris.
Rashida Tlaib pushes Gaza genocide resolution, then watches it get buried under bipartisan indifference. In a house where resolutions are more decorative than decisive, Bill's move is like shouting truth into a hurricane, hoping for a drizzle of justice.
Israel's president condemns settler violence, then funds more settlements. It's like handing out matches while asking for rain, a masterclass in political pyromania.
Taylor Momsen shares battle with demons, then credits music as her lifeline. In a world where the industry often chews up and spits out its stars, Momsen's survival is a rock anthem against the silence.
Google introduces AI-powered shopping and ads, claiming it's innovation. Because nothing screams progress like turning your search bar into a neon-lit mall, complete with pushy sales bots.
Trump statue makes comeback post-Epstein email dump like a bad sequel nobody asked for. In the art world's version of Groundhog Day, the statue reappears, proving some nightmares just won't stay buried.
France lifts travel ban on Telegram's Durov, despite ongoing investigation. Ah, France, land of art, wine, and the occasional blind eye to tech moguls who play fast and loose with legality. Bon voyage, Durov.
SZA denies Nicki Minaj feud, claims ignorance of her existence. In a world where feuds fuel fame, SZA's selective amnesia might just be the ultimate power move.
Rubio denies UK Intel freeze over boat strikes, blames fake news. When your best defense is calling the truth a hoax, you might be playing more defense than offense in the reality league.
Federal Reserve spooks markets, triggering sell-off in tech and crypto. When the Fed whispers, Wall Street quakes, and traders scramble like cats from a water balloon.
Tesla recalls 10,500 Powerwall 2 units due to fire risk, claims it's a minor adjustment. When your eco-friendly home upgrade might double as a bonfire, even the most ardent Tesla fans start questioning if burning passion was meant literally.
Democratic Socialists gain traction, leaving Republicans clutching their pearls. Looks like capitalism's worst nightmare is just getting started, and the old guard's panic button is running out of batteries.
Only 5% of music videos achieve viral status, and Groshi Plans' 73117 calls it a win. In a world where everyone with a smartphone is Spielberg, getting noticed requires more than just uploading your cat's existential crisis set to lo-fi beats.
It's like banning kids from the playground because they might overhear the grown-ups arguing. Diplomacy isn't a sandbox, but it sure acts like one.
Biden administration considers tariff reversals, calls it a strategy to curb inflation. Because nothing screams economic genius like playing fiscal Jenga with tariffs while inflation's doing the cha-cha on our wallets.
Tehran taps run dry with zero warning, yet officials promise a brighter future.
We Shine debuts at number 1 despite sounding like every other pop anthem. When your music is indistinguishable from elevator tunes, it's less about shining and more about blending in with the wallpaper.
Skin's shapewear brand hits $5 billion valuation, claims it's about empowerment.
O.J. Simpson's estate agrees to $57 million creditor claim, finally acknowledging a debt as big as its infamy. When justice is measured in dollars, it's less about closure and more about balancing the books of a sordid history.
The administration's war on plants continues, proving once again that nothing threatens freedom like a little green leaf.
Former US Ambassador Burns predicts smooth US-China relations post-trade truce, ignoring the elephant-sized trust issues in the room. A trade truce is like a band-aid on a bullet wound, temporarily, optimistic, and completely missing the real problem underneath.
Joanna Newsom's album cover depicts underwater clouds, making you wonder if reality is just a metaphor for artistic confusion. When album art looks like a botanical acid trip, you know the music's gonna be as clear as mud and twice as deep.
Only 3% of indie pop fans discover Sun Ha'ania, and the industry calls it exposure. In a world where algorithms decide taste, indie artists are like whispers in a hurricane, delightfully unheard.
Jaguar Land Rover reports 559 million Taman loss, blames cyber attack for halting production. When your car company gets hacked and you lose more cash than a small nation's GDP, it's time to upgrade your firewall, not just your engines.
As the world ages like a forgotten bottle of wine, retirement plans are evaporating faster than promises at a political rally. Meanwhile, the Dutch are betting on youth like it's a casino game, hoping for a jackpot before the house wins.
Trump administration fuels stagflation fears as tariffs and immigration policy bloat inflation and throttle growth. If your economic strategy sounds like a bad 70s flashback, maybe it's time to stop spinning that disco ball of doom and start listening to the experts. When the rich and powerful play cloak and dagger with justice, it's like watching a soap opera where the villains never quite leave the stage.
BBC investigates Naga Munchetty for bullying, as if workplace toxicity needs a celebrity endorsement to make headlines. In the cutthroat world of breakfast TV, where smiles and daggers compete for screen time, it seems even the morning sun can't outshine a scandal.
Gen Z demands justice after Urupan mayor's murder, and Mexico's government calls it youth acting out. When honoring the dead turns into a political assassination party, you know things are as twisted as a pretzel in a hurricane. Gen Z's rage is louder than 1,000 mariachi bands, echoing with a fervor that's hard to ignore, even for those in power playing deaf.
Australian investors pour $145 billion into green bonds, ignoring the US policy U-turn like a bad ex. While America plays environmental whack-a-mole, Australia seems to have found its eco-soulmate in sustainable investments, making green the new gold down under.
US Air Force admits F-47 fighter lags 3 years behind China, calls it a strategic delay. Looks like the US military's new stealth fighter is playing catch-up like a tortoise in a jet race. By the time it takes off, it might already be retro chic, like a flying museum piece with a side of Cold War nostalgia.
Prison fires multiple staff after Maxwell's luxury cell leak because, apparently, even behind bars, privilege gets room service. When a whistleblower spills the beans on your jail's VIP suite, it's less a prison and more a 5-star retreat with free orange jumpsuits.
Dow hits record high, while House plans vote to end shutdown because nothing says economic stability like dancing on the brink of chaos. The market's like a cat on a hot tin roof, purring 1 minute, clawing the next, while Congress fumbles for a can opener.
Trump plans to sign bill to end shutdown on live TV, while House schedules Epstein files vote for next week because transparency loves a good plot twist. It's a double feature of political theater. Government reopens, but the real drama's in the files. Who knew DC was a binge-worthy series?
When your agenda is more tangled than a soap opera plot, why not juggle tariffs and territorial tiffs like a pro?
Google eases Android sideloading rules for experienced users, as if the rest of us can't handle the wild west of unverified apps. Because nothing says, we trust you, like letting tech-savvy rebels navigate the digital jungle while everyone else watches from the kiddie pool.
Google introduced feature for businesses to report review extortion, claims it's empowering the little guy. Because nothing says we care like a digital panic button, or when your 5-star dreams get hijacked by keyboard bandits. It's like giving small businesses a shield made of pixels against the trolls, while Google watches from its ivory algorithm tower.
Michelle Obama dismisses presidential run idea. Claims America isn't ready for a female POTUS, as if misogyny is an unsolvable jigsaw puzzle. In a country where even the idea of a female leader is still seen as
NYC politician Mamdani mocks business interests, promises prosperity through disdain. Ah, the sweet scent of political sarcasm. Mamdani's got it bottled, ready to sell to anyone who thinks prosperity comes from biting the hand that feeds. It's a bold strategy, scorn the engines of commerce and hope the city runs on fumes of idealism instead.
Only 40% of war-exposed families avoid aggression. Turns out, the aftershocks of war ripple through living rooms long after the last bullet, leaving families to fight battles without front lines.
Twitch demands face scans for age verification ignites privacy firestorm. Because nothing says trust like a corporation wanting your face in their database. Twitch's new policy is like asking for a hug right after spilling hot coffee on someone. Sure, it's warm, but nobody's feeling cozy.
Naturopathic charges $3,039 for a mattress. Calls it organic nirvana. Apparently, the path to a guilt-free night's sleep is paved with greenbacks and green labels, where your conscience can rest as softly as your spine.
Epstein claimed to advise a Russian diplomat on Trump when expertise in ethics was what he truly lacked. Like asking a fox to guard the henhouse, Epstein advising on political strategy feels like a punchline that forgot the joke. His insight into Trump's psyche is about as comforting as a snake offering a shoulder to cry on.
Jets cornerback Chris Boyd hospitalized after NYC shooting, and the city calls it just another Tuesday. New York's finest crime scene investigators are on the case because nothing says welcome to the Big Apple like a bullet in a hospital bed.
The fossil's existence means our evolutionary tree just sprouted a surprise branch, proving once again that Mother Nature loves plot twists more than a soap opera writer. Turns out, the skeletons in our evolutionary closet are older and stranger than we imagined.
Brussels police deploy pint-sized patrol cars, and they claim it's for efficiency.
UK economy rose 0.1%. In a thrilling display of economic gymnastics, the UK managed a microscopic growth spurt, proving that even stagnation can be celebrated as a win.
Shabana Mahmood warns Labour MPs about dark forces stirring anger over migration, while immigrants brace for the backlash. When political tremors ripple, it's always the most vulnerable who get buried under the rubble of xenophobic rhetoric.
BBC apologizes to Trump for Panorama edit, but won't pay him a cent. Apparently, the Beep's sorry note will have to suffice in the land of the free, where even a billionaire president can't squeeze cash out of a public service broadcaster. Perhaps Trump can console himself with a round of golf, knowing that not all apologies come with a golden handshake.
Late country singer Luke Bell's new release drops posthumously, proving even death can't stop the music industry's cash cow. In the end, it's the ghost who keeps singing so the living can keep cashing in, a haunting harmony of profit over peace.
Go Congress loses agenda, claims it's a strategic void to outsmart opponents with the element of surprise.
Michelle Obama accuses Americans of lying about wanting her as president, dismisses the idea, assumes the former First Lady has a better grasp on the American psyche than most pollsters. While many dream of a Michelle 2028, she's busy living her best post-White House life, dodging the political circus like a pro. After all, who needs the Oval Office when you've got a Netflix deal and a thriving garden?
Rep. Khanna insists Epstein files release isn't about Trump, but the timing feels as innocent as a cat with a canary feather. When the files finally spew, let's hope they sing louder than a reality TV star on a comeback tour, who's ready for the next season of Political Survivor.
U.S. Bankruptcy Court approves Purdue Pharma deal, calls it justice without handcuffs. $1 billion slap on the wrist for the Sackler family as victims get crumbs while the architects of addiction keep their mansions. Justice? More like a high-stakes game of Monopoly.
Typhoon Fenghuang floods Taiwan, displacing over 10,000, while officials call it a manageable crisis. Nothing says manageable like thousands of people wading through chest-high water, desperately clinging to whatever they can find. But hey, as long as someone's got the spreadsheets under control, right? Meanwhile, Mother Nature sits back sipping her tea and wonders how many more manageable disasters we can take.
In a game of political twister, Democrats tie themselves in knots over who gets credit for averting chaos, while the public watches the circus unfold.
RSS pays millions to US lobbyists, calls it cultural exchange. When a far-right group hires American lobbyists, it's like inviting the wolf to dinner and asking it to be vegetarian. Only 10% of wannabe songwriters create catchy hits, and the music industry calls it talent. If writing a hit were as easy as karaoke in the shower, we'd all be Grammy winners with soap suds in our hair.
Congress votes to extend Obamacare subsidies, forcing states into panic mode over implementation. The classic game of political hot potato, where Congress tosses the responsibility grenade to the states and watches the chaos unfold. Who knew healthcare could be such a thrilling spectator sport? Meanwhile, the average American just wants to see a doctor without needing a financial advisor.
Only 6% of revolutions achieve lasting change, and history books call it a turning point. The Young Turk Revolution of 1908, when idealism met reality and had a messy breakup, leaving behind just enough nostalgia to fill a lithograph.
Only 9% of users understand cell phone plans, and providers call it transparency. The thrilling world of cell phone plans, where choosing your provider feels like a game of three-card monte with your wallet as the prize.
Kristi Noem hands $10,000 bonuses to select TSA agents, while most Americans get a pat on the back. It's like winning the lottery, but only if you're in the VIP line.
Only 30% of Redditors appreciate jazz, and Ella Fitzgerald deserves better. In a world where autotune reigns supreme,
Trump labels Marjorie Taylor Greene a lunatic, then accuses her of going far left. When Trump calls you too extreme, it's like the pot calling the kettle a flamethrower. Apparently loyalty is only skin deep in the MAGAverse.
Noah Baumbach directs another film about miserable people, calls it a comedy. When your cinematic specialty is turning dysfunction into entertainment, it's no wonder the audience leaves the theater feeling like they need a group hug and therapy session.
When the price of your avocado toast drops by a nickel, remember, it's not a revolution, just a distraction from the real issues on the menu.
The U.S. House passed a spending bill ending longest shutdown, but only until next political temper tantrum. Congratulations, America. Your government is back to work until the next round of legislative dodgeball sends it home again.
Who needs a sci-fi blockbuster when the galaxy itself throws a party with microquasars as DJs, spinning cosmic rays like they're going out of style?
Victorian Premier pushes youth crime laws. Critics call it a coward punch to justice. When your solution to youth crime is to treat kids like adults, you might be auditioning for a role in a dystopian drama, not leading a state.
DHS nabs over 150 in Operation Dirtbag, claims victory over Florida's migrant crisis. When your operation name sounds like a high school burn book entry, maybe it's time to rethink your PR strategy and your priorities.
Rio Tinto mothballs $2 Teflon $25 billion lithium project, citing internal note over public outrage. When a mining giant shelves a project after public outcry, it's like watching Godzilla retreat from a toddler's protest sign. Keep roaring, little ones.
Denny Fent's latest track drops, and it's as subtle as a sledgehammer. If song titles were any more cryptic, they'd need a decoder ring and a therapy session, but hey, at least the beats are catchy.
Because nothing says, I love you, like outsourcing parental creativity to a cardboard box filled with pre-packaged joy. Who needs spontaneous affection when you have monthly billing?
Todd Snyder leaves behind a legacy of truth-telling songs, then the music industry keeps spinning its auto-tuned wheels. In a world of manufactured hits, Snyder was the real deal, a melody of rebellion and authenticity that outlived the soulless chart toppers.
Dinsmore Payne's Pearl racks up views on YouTube, yet mainstream radio spins the same 3 pop songs. When the airwaves are a broken record, indie artists like Payne are the vinyl treasures we need but rarely hear.
Keir Starmer's top aide faces investigation, but his business ties are just another day in politics. When your political advisor's side hustle reads like a thriller plot, transparency becomes the plot twist no one saw coming.
Vice President's motorcade injures officer, but the wheels of power keep turning. When your job is to protect, but the motorcade's job seems to be practice for a demolition derby, something's got to give.
It's like the kettle calling the pot black, except the kettle's been married so many times it's practically a kitchen appliance collection.
Border Patrol operations start in Charlotte as Trump's crackdown escalates, because nothing says land of the free quite like turning your neighborhood into a scene from a dystopian novel, complete with checkpoints and fear.
Only 20% of mashups find fame, and Wax Audio calls it a hit. Because blending heavy metal with hip-hop is like mixing fire and gasoline, explosive, unpredictable, and guaranteed to leave everyone wondering what just happened to their eardrums.
Jet White headlines Lions Thanksgiving halftime show, proving turkeys aren't the only things getting stuffed. Because nothing says gratitude like a rock legend serenading a team known for stuffing fans' dreams year after year. Maybe Jack can lend the Lions some of that Hall of Fame magic.
Scientists create artificial auroras with radio transmitters because nature's light show needed a corporate sponsor. In a world where even the Northern Lights get a remix, scientists are playing DJ with the sky. Who needs magic when you can have a manufactured glow brought to you by the wonders of science and a touch of corporate flair?
James Watson reshaped biology with DNA's double helix, and tangled his legacy in controversy. Watson, the scientist who cracked the code of life, couldn't resist cracking open a can of scandal along the way. From groundbreaking discoveries to breaking social taboos, he's a reminder that genius and controversy often share the same double helix.
The Royal Navy's pride and joy, now a floating paradox of power and penny pinching, is a reminder that even the most majestic vessels can't escape the bureaucratic tide. In the end, it seems the only thing this carrier will be carrying is the weight of fiscal frugality.
Only 15% of Pennsylvanians avoid melanoma hikes, and Penn State blames the crops. Turns out your summer tan might come with the side of skin cancer if you live near farmland. While the sun gives us light, it seems it also hands out cancer like free samples at a supermarket. Time to rethink that country life fantasy, folks.
Supreme Court upholds same-sex marriage while Congress kills the penny. Who knew love and loose change would be the week's hot topics? Turns out, some people are still clutching their pearls over who gets to say, I do, while others are clutching their wallets wondering if they'll ever get exact change again. Love wins, but spare change? Not so much.
Trump secures trade deal with Milei, challenges Argentina's closed economy. Looks like Trump's deal-making extends south of the equator, but Milei's libertarian dreams might hit a snag when free trade meets Fortress Argentina. It's capitalism's favorite game. Let's see if you can open up without falling apart.
Only 20% of Serbians and Romanians disapprove of glorifying war criminals and cultural amnesia causing heritage. In a twisted game of historical telephone, war criminals become folk heroes, reminding us that nationalism often wears a blindfold while waving its flag.
South Korea bans flights for 500,000 students' university admission test, but the pressure to succeed remains sky high. When success depends on a pencil and silence, the stakes are higher than any altitude a plane could reach, grounding futures in a single exam.
Meta unveils third-party chats for WhatsApp users in Europe, calls it open communication. Like a vampire inviting you in, Meta's idea of open is just another door to your data. Who needs privacy when tech giants can offer you convenience wrapped in a pretty bow, right?
Trump wants to paint the Eisenhower Executive Office building all white, calling it ugly in its current state. Because when life gives you a historic building, why not turn it into a giant marshmallow monument to blandness and bad taste?
Only 30% of AI-generated lesson plans inspire students, and tech companies call it progress. If efficiency means churning out uninspired drones instead of curious minds, then AI-generated lessons are a masterclass in mediocrity. Who knew the future of education was just a factory for more yes men?
It's like ordering a small coffee and getting a triple shot espresso of cash, because who needs moderation when you can overdose on investor enthusiasm?
Pentagon executes 21st strike on alleged drug boat, claims victory in endless war. When your best anti-drug strategy is more explosions at sea, it's like trying to fix a leaky faucet with a sledgehammer. Who needs nuance when you've got firepower?
If you're trusting the word of a convicted sex offender over a former president, you might need a new moral compass, preferably one not made of monopoly money.
Texas Democrats flip gerrymandered districts, while MAGA supporters wonder why their redistricting magic backfired. Turns out, when you draw lines to exclude, sometimes you end up boxing yourself out of the game. Who knew geometry could be so treacherous?
Musician Jerry Giamot ditched gigs over pay, then Duane Allman formed legendary band instead. When fair wages are as elusive as a sober rock star, sometimes destiny just needs a nudge from a disgruntled bassist and a pair of ill-fated car crashes.
Only 10% of new artists break through, and Ella Pollitt calls it progress. In a world where your sanity is just another playlist away, losing your mind might be the best career move for an aspiring musician. Gov. Mills slams Senate Democrats for ending shutdown, then complains about government chaos. Nothing says leadership like criticizing the solution after demanding a problem. It's like ordering a pizza and then arguing about the toppings.
Tech companies plan to borrow hundreds of billions for AI, yet traders scramble for cover. When the future's built on algorithms and debt, the only thing more inflated than the tech bubble is the hope it won't pop.
Mumbai invests billions in flood defenses.
Trump vows to sue for $5 billion over edited video, claiming justice demands a price tag. When truth's a commodity, even presidential outrage comes with $1 billion invoice. Proving justice is now just another line item.
Israel plans to deport sick Palestinians to Gaza, calling it humanitarian. Sending ill patients from hospitals back to a conflict zone is like treating a fever with a flamethrower. It's not healthcare, it's heartless.
Argentine President Milei pushes to ease glacier rules.
Director S.S. Rajamouli unveils Varanasi, arriving March 25, 2027, promising more bombastic spectacle, and Priyanka Chopra Jonas flair. Like a cinematic sugar high, Varanasi aims to dazzle and distract as audiences gorge on spectacle while real-world issues simmer backstage.
Australia's Liberal Party scraps net zero, claims it lowers energy bills. In a plot twist worthy of a soap opera, ditching climate goals is now an energy-saving hack. Next, they'll say coal is the new kale.
Black Pumas release acoustic version of Colours. Stripping down to soul-bearing simplicity, yet it echoes louder than any overproduced anthem. In a world obsessed with digital gloss, Black Pumas remind us that raw, unvarnished truth can still strike the deepest chords.
Reddit user NoVariation3693 posts, Smileys isen lipsemia symphonic pop. When your music taste is as eclectic as a thrift store's inventory, you know you're winning at life. Symphonic pop, because strings and synths are a match made in harmony heaven.
Mega tech stocks rebound, erasing losses, while the Federal Reserve toys with rate cut fears like a cat with a half-dead mouse. Wall Street's like a soap opera, where the plot twists involve billion-dollar companies and the cliffhangers are interest rates.
Disney streams subscriber gains misses revenue, proving that magic doesn't pay the bills as well as it used to.
Federal Reserve's Logan insists on modestly restrictive policy, declares victory over inflation still a mirage. Because nothing says we care like keeping the economy in a straitjacket while inflation plays hide-and-seek with our wallets. What's next? A marathon with our shoelaces tied together.
Israeli forces shoot at UN peacekeepers, calling it friendly fire, in the most unfriendly neighborhood on earth. When peacekeepers need keeping safe, it's clear the world has become a playground for bullies with no recess monitor.
Only 12% of Christmas songs still resonate, and The Pretenders' 2,000 Miles remains a beacon in the holiday noise. In a sea of jingling cliches, Chrissy Hinn's voice is the rebel with a cause, strumming the heartstrings of nostalgia and longing.
Bondi launches investigation into Epstein ties to Democrats, conveniently forgets Trump's own connections. Ah, the classic political sleight of hand. Point the magnifying glass at the opposition while your own backyard is on fire. Distraction or denial, it's an art form.
Only 10% of pop songs challenge deceit. And Akihiko Kai's Don't Lie dares to call out the fibs. In a world built on sugar-coated truths, Kai's anthem is the musical equivalent of ripping off a Band-Aid, painful, but oh so necessary.
The Weeknd donates $350,000 for Hurricane Melissa relief, but tax write-off season starts early. When pop stars play philanthropists, it's hard to tell if they're saving the world or just their accountants' souls.
Epstein email suggests gifting girlfriend to Trump. Infuriates model alleging assault by him. Looks like Epstein's emails are the gift that keeps on giving, much like a festering wound. But hey, why let a little thing like consent get in the way of a billionaire bromance?
Israel accused of brutal treatment of Palestinian detainees, then denies medical care to those assaulted. When a prison complex sounds like a dystopian theme park, you know human rights have taken a nosedive into the abyss.
Only 5% of radio playlists feature pop rock, and streaming giants call it diversity. When algorithms decide your music taste, even rebels get lost in the shuffle of sanitized sound waves.